all here today. Chicago, one of 1,700 events around the country, and to be able to stand before you. We're angry. Sometimes we're scared. We're fired up. We're determined. But this is our Selma moment. 60 years ago, a young John Lewis crossed the Pettus Bridge. He and those who marched with him knew the violence that they faced if they crossed. But they kept marching, arm in arm. I had a chance to travel down to Selma to meet some of those heroes this spring, to hear their stories. They didn't just march, they refused to cooperate. For 381 days, they boycotted the buses in Selma. For 381 days, they walked for miles and miles. Elderly, young, students, they walked. They practiced mutual aid. Those with cars drove those who had the most need. For 381 days, they refused to cooperate, and they won. And they won. This is our Selma moment. I want you all to think for a minute, to stop and think about why you're here, to think about why you came today. We're here for the immigrants who have been in this country for decades, who are scared that they're going to be torn from their families and sent to a foreign prison to be tortured. We're here for the families of the children swept away by floods who didn't get a warning from the Weather Service. We're here for those who will be swept away by floods because Trump and his cronies are cutting the initiatives to combat climate change. We're here for the disabled children who are losing their services. We're here for the millions of people who will lose their health care because of the big bad bill. We're here because of the people who will have to choose between food and medicine and paying their rent. We're here because of the scientists on the brink of a discovery whose funding has been suddenly cut. Why are you here? Why did you come today? Take a moment and think about it, because this is our Selma moment. We might be scared. There might be moments where we want to just go home, and we have to remember John Lewis and those who marched beside them and the violence they knew they would face, and they marched together, arm in arm, peacefully. This is our Selma moment. This is what we have to do. We have to reach out beyond our normal coalitions. We have to reach out to people who can tell their stories, to labor, to faith, to veterans, to people you wouldn't normally reach out to. Invite them to join us. We have to commit to organize, to sign up to say we want to be part of this for the long term, to get trained, to go to the next event, to keep going back to the streets, in moments of distress to take the streets, to build big movements like this one with 1,700 events and hundreds of thousands of people around the country, and to build towards Labor Day that Chicago Teachers Union is playing a major role in leading. That will be a massive day of action around the country. Remember that for Labor Day. Let's get started to build for that. Let's make good trouble. Let's refuse to cooperate. Let's organize, Let's vote. Let's march. This is our Selma moment. Let's stand together, arm in arm, and let's be brave and not afraid and march on.
Thank you, sir. How you all feeling, Chicago? Well, we got to really have some high energy for our next speaker. Right now, I don't care what you've heard, I don't care what you think. More than 27,000 young people in the city of Chicago have summer jobs under his administration. He continues to work for a better, stronger, safer Chicago. And over the weekend, he showed the world his drumming skills at Gospel Fest. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the city's 57th mayor, Mayor Brandon Johnson! A West Sider!
Wow! Well, look at you, Chicago! It sounds like we're ready for the fight. We're ready to save this democracy. We're ready to throw down authoritarianism and build a democracy that works for everybody. Are you with me, Chicago? It is truly an honor to stand with you all today as we continue our fight for freedom and justice. And tonight we honor the life and the legacy of a true freedom fighter, Congressman John Lewis, a man who fought for the cause and put his body on the line for justice. And Congressman Lewis taught us that there are times when we must defy the status quo and push back against unjust laws. And let me tell you, that time is now. There are times when we have to march forward, even when it's difficult, even when the risks are real. And let me tell you, that time is now. Tonight, we follow in the footsteps of making good trouble, trouble that will engender confidence across this country that liberty and justice for all is not just a tagline, but it is truly the goal and the hopes and aspiration of those who have come before us. As the federal government is chipping away at our democracy and working to erase our history and silence our voice and strip away our freedoms, we are here to stand firm that even in the midst of the greatest transfer of wealth from working class to billionaires in our lifetimes, we are not going to settle, sit down, cower, buck, or cry, but we are going to march. We are going to push for policies, and we are going to ensure that the oligarchy and the wealthy in this country pay their fair share in taxes. You know, I'm reminded as a history teacher of the Supreme Court Justice Louis Brandeis, who once said, "We can have a democracy in this country, or we can have great wealth concentrated in the hands of a few. But we cannot have both." And make no mistake about it, our nation is not making a slow creep to the right. This is an alarming and fast descent to authoritarianism. And history tells us exactly what authoritarianism will lead if we let it. But history also tells us something more important. It tells us that the power is in the hands of the people. John Lewis left us a mark when he showed us how we can really wield real power and affect change by standing up to tyranny. And sometimes that means bucking the status quo and be willing to do whatever is necessary to secure our democracy and to protect our humanity. And that is the kind of power that we need today. Chicago will not be complicit We will not be silent, but Chicago will take on the banner that people like John Lewis and the Reverend Jesse Jackson have left for us. And so what does that good trouble look like? That good trouble looks like we have to stand up to Donald Trump's militarized ICE force that has more resources than militaries across this country. His private, hand-picked militarized force will not intimidate us. They will not come in and kidnap our people, but we will stand firm as a welcoming city, ensuring that the immigrant community is protected. And let me make something absolutely clear in the most emphatic way. We will not cooperate with ICE. Because if they are willing to come after undocumented people, this is the same force that works to intimidate black and brown people across this globe. We will not be intimidated by the militarized force that Donald Trump has put before us. Just like Dr. King said, whether it's racism, whether it's militarism, or whether it's capitalism, we will stand up for justice in Chicago and lead the way for the rest of this country. And not only will we protect our immigrant community, Chicago was proud to be the safest space for the LGBTQ+ community. We will protect our brothers and sisters who are part of the LGBTQ+ community. But we will also ensure that we defend public accommodations. We will protect our public education system. Public education at the expense of the state is an idea that comes from black liberation. And anyone that comes after education is coming after the very people who built this nation. And that's why I am proud that the Chicago Teachers Union protected in their contract black history, LGBTQ rights, protecting workers. That's the type of power that we possess in this city. Good trouble also means protecting the freedom of choice. Anybody that wishes to control a woman has obviously not met a woman. Let me just make this emphatically clear. A woman's right to choose what she gets to do with her body is something that is sacred, and we have to protect it. But I just want to close with this. This is about protecting our fine established institutions. This is about also making sure that we do not surrender our humanity. There are divisive forces that are looking for us to turn on one another. This is a moment in which we have to turn towards one another. There are people who are feeling powerless and hopeless, but I'm reminded of the great Saint John Lewis, who said in a very emphatic way that sometimes it's necessary to punch back. And this is that time in which we punch back. And so we punch back in a way that provides opportunities for our young people. We punch back to make sure that we provide opportunities for black and brown communities. But this is also a time for us to punch back, to unite every single corner of this city. Equity and justice is the righteous call for everyone, whether you are black, brown, white, Asian, young, old. This is a country that has been established by the hopes and the dreams of those who came before us. And we are not going to allow a tyrant and a little small-minded man stop us from building one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty, with liberty, with liberty, from one corner of this country to the other, and justice for all. God bless you. God bless the greatest freaking city in the world, the city of Chicago.
All right. That's your mayor. That's right. That's Chicago's mayor. Chicago's mayor. Boy, Mayor Johnson spoke about the Chicago Teachers Union. I just wanted to lift up. I just want to lift up one of the former presidents of the Chicago Teachers Union, who is 105 years old, and said, I got to be here to stand for my people. Y'all give it up, Beatrice B. Lumpkin. Beatrice. Ready to get into the streets, ready to get in good trouble, 105. I don't want to hear any excuses as to why you can't get in good trouble. Watch Miss Lumpkin get in good trouble. It's my privilege to now bring up a person who can tell you a little bit about fighting in the courtrooms, fighting for the Constitution, fighting for liberty. They've been involved in litigation where they've been fighting against the deportations and disappearances of people, fighting against Alligator Alcatraz in Florida, fighting for trans rights throughout America, and fighting for birthright citizenship to remain in place. Y'all give it up, fight the power with the communications director for the ACLU of Illinois, Ed Yanka. Ed.
Good evening, Chicago. I know you've heard this before, but let me just ask one more time. Are you really ready for some good trouble? You know, we gather today to remember the legacy of the great John Lewis. For many of us who do this work every day, John Lewis is a model of fairness, of decency, and of the work for equality. He was a man of kindness and understanding. And he was also a man of fierce determination. And most of all, John Lewis was a man of courage. He showed personal courage fighting for civil rights, equal access for all, and for voting rights. He demonstrated that courage in 1961 when he was beaten by a white mob in a South Carolina bus depot. And of course, as you've heard, he showed that courage again in 1965 when he was savagely beaten by state police at the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama. John Lewis literally put his life on the line to build a better America, to give everyone an opportunity for a better education, a decent wage, and the fundamental right to vote. On the other hand, we have the current administration in the White House that likes to project strength, as they call it, and claim that they are courageous. But that courage is about as fake as their claim that they won't cut Medicaid. So let us be clear. It does not take courage to roll back federal civil rights laws in our country by maligning DEI. It is weakness and it is not courage to deny people an opportunity to a quality education, suggesting that the only people should be permitted to succeed in our society are those who are rich and powerful and well-connected. It is not courageous to send masked, unidentified, heavily armed ICE agents to patrol our streets in unmarked vehicles and kidnap our people. It is not courageous, without any authority, to attempt to strip birthright citizenship from our Constitution and claim that a president of the United States can decide who gets to be a citizen and who doesn't. It is not courageous to attack trans and non-binary people. It's not courageous to use the awesome power of the federal government to deny life-saving health care to those folks. It is not courageous to deny Medicaid benefits to people living with disabilities, to cut off SNAP benefits for children, and to dismantle fundamentally successful programs like Head Start. And it sure doesn't take courage to try to destroy the Voting Rights Act and limit participation in our electoral process rather than expand opportunities to vote for everyone. I am proud that the ACLU has been in court all across this country fighting each and every one of those actions. In less than 6 months, we have filed more than 68 lawsuits against the Trump administration, and we've actually gotten relief from the court in more than half of them that shows just how wrong he is. We are out to fight against these cowardly acts from this administration, from their cruel, venal immigration enforcement and detention actions to working to protect programs like Head Start and pushing to ensure that birthright citizenship remains in the 14th Amendment to our Constitution. But here's the truth. Here's the truth. The work to protect civil rights does not begin and end in the courts. Protecting and extending basic rights has never been a judicial question. It's about people power. It has always taken we the people, all of us, joining together in tiny acts of courage and defiance to bring about the change we want to see. In the past 6 months, we have gathered in this very space for the hands-off rallies. We gathered here for the No Kings rallies. And today we gathered again. But this cannot be the end either. We have to continue to show up in ways large and small, even when it feels scary and even when we feel like it's a little bit out of our comfort zone. In the words of Congressman Lewis, you cannot be afraid to speak up and to speak out for what you believe. You have to have courage, raw courage. We need your courage today more than ever. This administration wants to cower us. They want to make us frustrated, and they want to make us give up. To that, I say hell no. Today, we can pledge ourselves again, as you've heard, to making good trouble and to fight together for everyone's rights, to fight against those who are trying to rewrite our history into something dark and ugly. We must have the courage to keep working and to keep showing up. So let us recommit ourselves today to that good trouble in the name of John Lewis. Thank you all very much.
All right, Chicago. United States, y'all getting ready to hear somebody that doesn't need the microphone. When I tell you it's loud, it's going to get loud in here. It's getting ready to get hot in here. It's getting ready to get hot in here? Is that what they say? It's getting ready to get hot in here. All right, y'all, it's my pleasure to bring up the founder and the president of the Transformative Justice Coalition, my co-leader. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for attorney Barbara Arnwine.
Chicago is on fire! Oh yes, I'm back. Good evening, good troublemakers. All over the country, you are watching this national broadcast. I've been hearing from people from the District of Columbia. I've been hearing from people from Massachusetts. They're watching. They want you to know they love some Chicago. This has been an amazing day. From early this morning, all day people have been gathering, marching, conducting community service, and holding rallies, but they all are driven by one common thing, and that is the John Lewis spirit of getting into good trouble. Necessary trouble. So we want to say today, before I came up here, some people sent me some clips of pictures of MSNBC. And what they had on the clip was, check this out everybody, was that Trump, in the middle of all the backlash to his lies about the Epstein files, that people also, they said, but look at all these marches. Look at the good troublemakers. Look at all of it. So people, you are not only making history, you're shaking up this whole nation. Thank you. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for being out here on this Thursday night. We are so grateful for you. We want to just say, I just want to say one thing as I do a very short speech, because I got to hear from my young one who's going to bring us some John Lewis words coming up. But I do want you to realize that there's one thing that we want to take forward from this, is that nobody will ever stop us from multiracial organizing. Nobody will ever stop us with their evil voter suppression. Nobody will allow us to fall for the capitulators. These law firms, shame on them. These colleges and universities, shame on them for capitulating. In the time of trouble, you don't roll over, you fight. You fight. You fight. You fight with everything you got. You fight and you fight some more. I want us to be clear that we are here to say yes to racial unity, yes to full voting rights for all, yes to the protection of the poor and vulnerable, yes to protect our brothers and sisters. I'm in a hotel where ICE is. ICE has been operating like what, folks? A Gestapo. We're sick of it. All this unlawful, unconstitutional actions. We are here because we believe in the full breadth of our Constitution, from the First Amendment to the 14th Amendment, to all our rights. We will not give up. would-be dictator turn our country around. It is time for us to move forward, and people, keep tight to your fight. Keep tight to your vision, because that's what's going to compel us when you don't see anybody else around who's thinking like you. That's what's going to move you and keep you strong. Turn to each other right now and say, I love you in this fight. I love you in this fight. People say, why are you guys playing music? Why are you dancing? Because we love the fact that we can gather together, that we can come together. We will never stop. So keep tight to that vision. Never stop fighting for an inclusive, robust, unfettered, representative, multiracial democracy. Keep tight. That's our vision. That's our fight. That's where we're going. That's what we will accomplish. We will never stop until victory is won. Thank you.
When I say good trouble, you say necessary trouble. Good trouble. Good trouble. Good trouble. Come on, Chicago. I love it. At this time, we do want to acknowledge Congressman Jonathan Jackson, who was on program to speak, but doing the work of our nation, our city, and our land, he's caught in Washington, D.C. right now in a congressional session. But can we please stop and show some love for Congressman Jonathan Jackson at this time? Now, here's something, you all, that we don't talk about much, and that is the people, all of you who deal with our young people. I'm talking about parents. I'm talking about educators. To everyone here on Daily Plaza right now who is a parent, who is a teacher, show some love! Now, I want you all to know, Chicago, I absolutely love educators. Educators are the most underrated. They are the most underpaid. And every time you see an educator, you need to show some love. But before I bring this next educator to the stage, we have to properly set the stage. Under her administration, 325,000 CPS students. I want to talk about the historic contract by the CTU. A 16% pay raise for all CPS teachers. Come on, y'all, show some love. 800 new staff positions, 90 more librarians, 200 more special ed case managers, 400 teachers' aides. Guess what, y'all? This was all negotiated without a strike. In case you didn't do your homework, it was the first time in 15 years. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only, she ain't afraid of y'all. She says what she means. CTU President Stacey Davis Gates.
Make some noise, teachers! The Chicago Teachers Union is a union of teachers. The Chicago Teachers Union is a union of paraprofessionals. The Chicago Teachers Union is a union of clinicians And the Chicago Teachers Union is a union for the people. And as a history teacher, I must remind you that John Lewis saying good trouble and people believing that good trouble ain't disruptive trouble is a false retelling of history. John Lewis' first draft of his speech on the March on Washington said that we have to burn down the policies and the ideology of Jim Crow, the gifts of the Confederacy. And sometimes if we not just know our history but apply our history, we don't make the mistake of electing the Confederacy. When we understand our history, we also understand that Alcatraz or Alcatraz alligator is another symptom of the prison industrial complex. If we understand our history, ICE is only able to kidnap people from graduations in front of schools because John Burge was able to kidnap people from the south side of Chicago. When people don't honor their history, they are bound to miss the lesson. As a union organizer, though, I know the power of a common good union that opens its doors and its bargaining power to protect children who are queer, to create the capacity for a contract to remove lead and asbestos and mold and to get with it in this green, sustainable economy. I know a contract can raise wages, but it can also lower class sizes. I know a contract can hire more staff, but it can also house unhoused students and their families. And I know that as a union organizer in this moment, you have to find both your history and your power. So let me tell you a story as a history teacher and a union organizer. It was a coalition that reunited this country after it was broken apart by the Civil War. It was a group of enslaved Africans on plantations all across the South who said that they were not going to work anymore, that they were going to stage a general strike for the democracy of this country and for the humanity of the people in this country. So they, with abolitionists, with women leading movement, created the opportunity for this country to reunite because they broke the backs of the Confederacy with a strike. As a union organizer, I have to tell you that coalition, multiracial, multi-generational, and women-led gets us the goods. When you know your history, you know that fascism doesn't stop in the courthouse, but on the streets of every city, every county, and every state in this country. So organize, mobilize, create the opportunity to win a democracy, not the one we had, but the one that gives us health care, all of us, the one that funds public education fully, the one that houses every last one of them. Our country, our vision, our dream, our, not his, not theirs, not the wealthy. We get an opportunity to live in a country that forces the wealthy to pay their fair share and that houses each and every one of us. Whose schools? Our schools. Whose city? Our city. Whose state? Our state. Whose country? Our country. Whose country? Our country. Whose country? Our country. Whose country? Whose country? Whose country? Whose democracy?
Stacey Davis Gates, y'all. Stacey Davis Gates. The wonderful thing about teachers, they get a chance to see their results as their students show what the teachers are doing in the classroom. It's our pleasure right now, my pleasure, our pleasure, to bring up 3 students that are going to lay it out to you in the reading of the farewell address from John Lewis. You're going to hear Bradley Holt, Apollonia Jackson, and Kayla Bell. Y'all give it up for our students. Bradley Holt.
When the glory comes, it will be ours. It will be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won,
While my time here has now come to an end, I want you to know that in the last days and hours of my life, you inspired me. You filled me with hope about the next chapter of the great American story when you used your power to make a difference in our society. Millions of people motivated simply by human compassion laid down the burdens of division. Around the country and the world, you set aside race, class, age, language, and nationality to demand respect for human dignity. That is why I had to visit Black Lives Matter Plaza in Washington. Though I was admitted to the hospital the following day, I just had to see and feel it for myself that after many years of silent witness, the truth is still marching on.
Emmett Till was my George Floyd. He was my Rashard Brooks, Sandra Bland, and Breonna Taylor. He was 14 when he was killed, and I was only 15 years old at the time. I will never ever forget the moment when it became so clear that he could easily have been me. In those days, fear constrained us like an imaginary prison, and troubling thoughts of potential brutality committed for no understandable reason were the bars. Though I was surrounded by 2 loving parents, plenty of brothers, sisters, and cousins, their love could not protect me from the unholy oppression waiting just outside that family circle. Unchecked, unrestrained, violence and government-sanctioned terror had the power to turn a simple stroll to the store for some Skittles or an innocent morning jog down a lonesome country road into a nightmare. If we are to survive as one unified nation, we must discover what so readily takes root in our hearts that could rob Mother Emanuel Church in South Carolina of her brightest and best. Shoot unwitting concert goers in Las Vegas and choke to death the hopes and dreams of a gifted violinist like Elijah McClain. Like so many young people today, I was searching for a way out, or some might say a way in. And then I heard the voice of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on an old radio. He was talking about the philosophy and discipline of nonviolence. He said we are all complicit when we tolerate injustice. He said it is not enough to say it'll get better by and by. He said each of us has a moral obligation to stand up, and speak out. When you see something that is not right, you must say something. You must do something. Democracy is not a state, it is an act. And each generation must do its part to help build what we call the beloved community, a nation, and a world society at peace with itself.
You must also study and learn the lessons of history because humanity has been involved in this soul-wrenching, existential struggle for a very long time. People on every continent have stood in your shoes through decades and centuries before you. The truth does not change, and that is why the answers worked out long ago can help you find solutions to the challenges of our time. Continue to build union between movements stretching across the globe because we must put away our willingness to profit from the exploitation of others. Though I may not be here with you, I urge you to answer the highest calling of your heart and stand up for what you truly believe. In my life, I have done all I can do to demonstrate that the way of peace, the way of love and nonviolence is the more excellent way. Now it is your turn to let freedom ring. When historians pick up their pens to write the story of the 21st century, let them say that it was your generation who laid down the heavy burdens of hate at last, and that peace finally triumphed over violence, aggression, and war. So I say to you, walk with the wind, brothers and sisters, and let the spirit of peace and the power of everlasting love be your guide.
Let's give our young people one more round of applause.